Hey guys, how's it going? So recently I've been looking into the Sega CD and it's a bit of a weird console. I would say the games are a bit of a mixed bag. It's either FMV games, shovelware, or actual good games. And to be honest, that's kind of rare. But on the other hand, it kind of has a weird history too. Came out in 1991 in North America. I find it kind of weird because if you look at the early 90s, people are still using cassette tape. CDs weren't like a main thing yet. So it's like, who was this thing made for, you know? But enough of the goofy shit. I'm gonna go into the actual history, so enough bullshit. Let's get started.
How could you let that happen?
That wasn't too bad, kid.
Pretend it's a game.
POV, it's 1991, and Sega is competing with Nintendo. Unfortunately though, they're gonna release a Super Nintendo. And there's also word of the TurboGrafx 16 getting a CD add-on. So what does Sega do? Sega of Japan makes the Sega CD. It was honestly made just to keep ahead of the competition, but to be honest, Sega didn't really use it in the best way. So, like I said before, the majority of the Sega CD's library is FMV games. Night Trap, Snatcher, and it even had Genesis games with basic graphical improvement like Earthworm Jim Special Edition. And I'll say this for the most part, it does have some mid-tier games, but at the end of the day, I still kind of respect the Sega CD. It may not do a lot besides graphical improvements, but it did have some decent games for the time. And it had one of the best Sonic games on there, Sonic CD. I don't even know where to get started with this game. Fuck it, I'm gonna let a friend of mine take over this segment.
Hey, I'm for reals, y'all. I'm a massive fucking Sonic Turbo geek nerd supreme, and I'm here to talk about Sonic CD. Being developed at the same time as Sonic 2, it got a lot of the improvements that game would have, but also keeping a unique vibe of its own. Both of the games would improve on what Sonic 1 did, but Sonic CD is my favorite classic Sonic game. Being able to utilize a CD soundtrack, it's got some of the greatest songs from that era, and having the really awesome opening cutscene and ending cutscene, the cool credit sequence with a bunch of animations, the GA garden where you can just listen to a bunch of music, you have amazing bonus stages, and at the core of all of it is an incredible Sonic experience. The first time playing through it, some of the stages will be easy to blast through, and some of them will feel more exploration based, but all of them have that same fun Sonic feel. Also, this game introduced Metal Sonic and Amy to the franchise. The time travel mechanic is a little clunky, but it's pretty fun to experiment with, and it made it so that every stage has multiple different variations with their own songs too. The amount of work that's gone into that is just wild. It's a game I keep coming back to. I literally keep my CD inside of my Sega CD all the time because it's my favorite game on the console. I boot it up frequently just to lower my overall time. You have this little timer at the bottom of Time Attack where it shows you what your total time in the whole game is, and you can try to lower it on each stage one by one just to try to get that total time to go down more, and it is addicting. I even managed to beat some of the developers' time scores in the bonus stages, which felt really cool. Of course, I also have to mention that North America got its own soundtrack. It's because of a lot of the samples used in the original OST. They were worried about any potential legal issues, so they redid the whole OST. I actually prefer Sonic Boom from the North American soundtrack for an opening theme, but for the rest of it, I generally think the PAL and JP soundtrack is a lot stronger. Some people describe the level design as confusing, but outside of one or two stages, I never really felt this way. Even playing the game for the first time, it felt fairly straightforward. Every now and then you might get a little confused, but for the most part it was easy to go forward and go fast and just platform. Genuinely, this game is spectacular, and it's my favorite 2D Sonic game of all time. And that's all I got for you this time. Now back to the rest of the video.
So, the next game I want to talk about is a bit of a weird one. I discovered this game through a meme. Check it out.
Whoa, big fella! You got a name, Leadhead? Call me Woody. Wild Woody!
Yeah, you could tell already, this is gonna be a weird fucking game. Now, for the early 90s, this game really looks good, but it has kind of an 80s, 90s gross out sense of humor. Like, in the game, obviously you're a pencil so you could draw stuff, right? in the game, you could literally draw naked chicks, right? And the more you draw, the smaller you get. So you have to get power-ups to get, bigger. I mean, gameplay-wise, it's honestly, it's decent, but it's also kind of bad. So you are a pencil, right? And obviously, to take out enemies, it's going to be like a Mario side. You have to, jump on them. But because you're a pencil, you have a narrow hitbox. So when you jump something, you don't know if you're actually going to, hit it or not. And yeah, this game is really fucking weird, but I don't know. I like it. So this is kind of an honorable mention. I just found this out today. Yeah, this is Lawnmower Man. And apparently it had a whole series. It had a game for the Super Nintendo, the base Sega Genesis. So yeah, it's kind of a franchise. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, there's a lot of lore behind these games. I don't really have time to get into it, but this game also looks kind of good for, being a Sega CD and released in the early 90s. Like, I don't know, to have a 3D game like this must have been cool back then, since you only really had 3D games in the arcade back then, I guess. But yeah, I only got a chance to play it a little bit, so I don't really have too much to say, but yeah, it's a decent game. Either way, though, ladies and gents, if you want to, like, subscribe, do whatever you want to do, no rush, and tell me down below, what's your favorite Sega CD game? Tell me down in the comments. I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Kitty, what are you doing out here? Did I not see you before? Oh, you're so Portuguese. Portuguese.
Portuguese.
Hello, everybody. My name is Markiplier.